Welcome along to episode 822 of the Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, Jessica Lim let us know about her role in Dear Evan Hansen, which is at the Grand from the 1st of April. We'll be catching up with the team from the Wolverhampton Wellbeing Hub. That's all going on over in Bilston. Litchfield Operatic Society let us know about their production of Anything Goes. We're joined by Will Mellor as we find out how we like the transition and change in our lives and not so much commitment. Izzie Balmer is alongside Kevin Manford from Raisin as we talk about people's collections. Scott Harrison encourages us to get fit and maybe get that David Beckham style body. Plus, we'll be talking to the team at Compton Care all about their forthcoming golf day. That's all on the way on the show this week.
Welcome to the Milk Bar. 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 Welcome to the Milk Bar.
Now, Dear Evan Hansen is at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 1st to the 5th of April. Somebody who is neither no stranger to the city nor the theatre itself is Jessica Lynn, who joins me now to tell me about her part in the show. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, we need to clear this one quickly because anybody who's seen this video in Wolverhampton or hearing your voice on the airwaves is going to go, no, that's Jess Alford. What's going on? And because Jessica is your stage name, isn't it?
Yeah, Jessica Lim is my stage name, but growing up in Wolves, I was probably known as Jess Alford.
Good old Jess Alford. She was fantastic.
Good old, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, this is fun. You're part of the ensemble. You cover Cynthia, Heidi, and Alana in the show.
Yeah.
But Dear Evan Hansen, for the uninitiated, we're following Evan, aren't we?
Yes, yeah. Following Evan. It's his story. He basically doesn't lead the stage, as only like a few points, but yeah, we're following his journey, and yeah.
And very much like when you were Ms. Alford, we are in high school times, and he wants
Yeah.
nothing more than to fit in. And I think we that's something in some ways we all want to do, but actually we need to kind of realise that by not fitting in, we're still fitting in. And
Yeah.
there's going to be an interesting journey to get us through a big musical theatre style event that is this amazing show, which has huge plaudits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a relatable musical for a lot of people. Like everyone knows someone who wants to fit in or doesn't quite fit in or has been that person. So I think that coming to see the musical, everyone relates to at least one character on the stage.
We also may relate to the fact that good old Evan doesn't necessarily tell the truth all the time. There are some little white
Yeah,
lies which propel him on a path which is something of a challenge.
yeah. Yeah, he tells a lie that spins out of control, and it kind of the musical explores the rewards and the repercussions that kind of come with that. Yeah, for sure.
What's it like being part of this show? Because this is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, honestly, when I got the call that I was going to be in the show, it was just incredible. Like I wanted to be in it so badly when it was in the West End, and then when I found out that it was going on tour, I was just like, I want to be in that show so badly. It's got such incredible music, and the story is and the script is just so incredible and amazing. And I think that it's a really um it's something that everyone should come and see because the lessons and the things that people would be able to relate to are all in there, and it's just yeah.
And okay, just the music itself in this one though. This is something that people are going to know, even if they don't know the story.
Oh yeah, there are so many like famous songs in the musical. Like You Will Be Found is probably the one of the most famous of them all. It's the big like act one closer, and it's got so much heart, and the harmonies are brilliant. And then you've also got like Waving Through a Window, which is Evan's big number. But yeah, it's the music is I think every single song in the show is enjoyable, and yeah, I think everyone would enjoy it and does enjoy it.
But when are we set here? Because the look is very much part of this as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's modern day. It's now. That's when we're set in the present day.
But it's always now, though, isn't it? I think that's the thing.
Yeah. No matter when it gets put on, it's always going to be in whatever year it's being played in.
But that also that means that I mean the look is very much of its own though, isn't it? Really, because you kind of have a freshness to the outfits, and there's bolder colours than you may necessarily expect to see on the high street.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, all of the clothes are from the high street
Hmm.
in the show. So you probably coming, you might see clothes that maybe you have in your wardrobe or that you might see in a charity shop or something. And I think I think that's quite nice because it's like, oh, yeah, I relate. Like I would wear those clothes or I would like to wear those clothes or whatever.
And through the songs, through the look, through the outfits, through the personalities that get expressed on stage, you're very much sort of watching a web of interactions. It's not just linear, is it? There's all sorts of things that dot off at the side. There's side stories that you suddenly realise are part of the main, tale.
Oh, I definitely think web is such a relevant term for the show itself because, like I was mentioning, "Waving Through a Window" is one of the stories, one of the songs that the main songs in the show, and a lot of the time that was used as kind of like waving through like a physical window because like being outside of a house, like looking in or something. But we've also incorporated a lot of social media with that. So it's like waving through like a phone screen window, or things like that. So then the web becomes not just like interpersonal relationships like that you meet at school, but also like interpersonal relationships that you see on social media, and then that becomes tangled, and like the web becomes wider with the social media influence.
And the other exciting part of this is if you've seen the show before, you won't have seen it quite like this because this is a brand new production which is for the UK and Ireland tour. So you're getting the
Yeah.
story the songs the characters that you understand, but actually you're getting this in a whole package which is going to feel fresh as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a completely brand new version. It was workshopped in rehearsals and created by the people, like all of the people who were playing the parts came up with their own ideas for and like motivations for all the characters. And so the blocking's different, the set's different, costumes are different, and we have an ensemble which hasn't happened yet. It definitely wasn't. We didn't have an ensemble in the West End, so it's really exciting to be kind of the first ensemble in the show.
And again, with that and the sets being, there's some digital work, there's physical, there's imagined and interpretive parts of the way in which the people interact, which form part of the set, even though there's no set there. All of these things,
Yeah.
they're part of making a story come to life in a way which is accessible to a huge range of people. I think that's the other part. It's not just about the kids, is it?
No, oh my God, it's definitely not just about the kids. It's I mean, I cover there are two mums and a dad in it as well. And I think it's very much about them and how they kind of navigate having teenage children
Mhm.
and the troubles and the hardships that that entails as well. And
So a textbook for life.
textbook for life, absolutely. That is a very, very good way of putting it.
Well, it's going to be brilliant. Break a leg. Have a great time with the show. Great back in Wolverhampton. Digs sorted. I take it. This family still here.
Oh yeah, absolutely staying with my parents.
That's the way to do it, and have a magical time. And whether you're part of the ensemble or whether you're covering the likes of Cynthia, Heidi, or Alana, I know that it's going to be an amazing experience. Have you played the theatre before? Been to the Grand
Oh yeah,
as a kid, or?
I've done it as a kid. I was part of two Muscom productions. Um, I was part of Ulster Cup and Fame at the Grand, and
I
then I recently went back for the WYMT anniversary concert.
Uh-huh. So I've definitely seen you on stage, and that's absolutely
Yeah.
guaranteed. As many people have done before, they will be able to do so again from the 1st through to the 5th of April. It is Dear Evan Hansen at the Grand Theatre. 01902 429212 is the box office number, grandtheatre.co.uk to grab your tickets. And you must get in there quick because this is one of those popular shows where if you want your seats that you normally sit in, you're going to have to get in there fast. So make sure you do that because it's mostly Jessica's family who are going to to be filling half the space. Muscom are going to be filling the rest. And any seats that are left over, Central Youth Theatre are going to be after because they want to see one of their own doing their thing and shining as exactly we know they're able to. Jess Alford, Jessica Lim, thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Compton Care are holding a fundraising golf day. It's taking place at the Asprey on the 15th of May. It's a Thursday. What better thing to do with your Thursday than enjoy a great round of golf and raise some money for a brilliant cause? Rachel Haley, the corporate fundraiser from Compton Care, is with me now. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All good here, and people do love a bit of golf, so getting around in and making sure that it's all for a good cause is a brilliant way of doing it.
It's amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. I know we had a break last year from the golf day, so coming back with a brand new venue at the Asprey, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
So what can people expect on the day?
There's breakfast sandwiches and a welcome to start with. Everyone has a shotgun start at 12 o'clock, and then that's followed by a barbecue buffet in the evening, which will be exciting. And then we'll have a raffle and just a lot of networking, fundraising for Compton. Be a good day.
And who are we expecting to turn up to this? Because there's going to be people representing business across the area.
So this year we have M&E Global as our platinum sponsor this year, so that's amazing. And then we have Vistry Group, McAuliffe's, Moog, Skipton Business Finance, George Green. There's a whole host of different businesses. So yeah, it's going to be really good. Some new ones and yeah, people who also partake in previous years. So it'll be really good.
And normally you attract a few well-known names when it comes to playing golf as well. Is there anyone lined up yet, or is that still under wraps?
Under wraps at the moment, yeah, but fingers crossed.
Okay, so that's another one to get involved for. But I mean, what sort of quality golf player do you need to be to get involved? I mean, are the beginners, intermediate and higher levels?
Any level can play. I mean, I'm no golfer myself, but when I went to visit the Asprey last week, I was just told as long as you bring like your clubs and you're prepared, then off you go. But I'm certainly no golfer, so this has been a learning experience for me. But the Asprey have been great in letting me know how to organise it, and I know a lot of the people are taking part are really keen golfers. But no, anyone is welcome.
And you don't have to bring a caddy. You can just drag your own cart around with you. It doesn't have to be OTT, does it?
No, no, not at all. No, anyone's welcome.
And how much does it cost to get involved?
So teams start from £450 for a four ball, and then if you would like whole sponsorship on top of that, then it's £550 for a team. We do still have the headline sponsor available, and that included in that is a team as well, and then obviously a lot of advertisement along with that. And then the headline sponsorship also includes a silver membership to our business club. So business club is a meeting that we host once a month, currently held at Codsall Hub, and that's a bit of business networking. You get to learn a bit about Compton. We have a different guest speaker from Compton each month, so it's really great. But yeah, a lot of networking there as well. So that's all included.
And the important part with all of this, obviously, it's businesses coming together from across the whole of the area to be part of the Compton Care family and doing such amazing work. The amount of money it costs to run Compton, and all of that goes into patient care. It is absolutely essential that we keep funds rolling in. There is a lot of people supporting, but this is just another way of doing it, and one which, if you're a business, is obviously part of your corporate spend.
Absolutely, yeah. So it just costs just over 14.5 million to run Compton each year. So it's really, really vital that we do get the support from community and corporates is really vital for us to continue our services.
And have you been working, as you say, you mentioned you're going to have a go at a bit of golf. Have you been practicing so you can join in on the day?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, I went round the other day on a buggy, but I didn't drive it. But I know that on the day I am going to be able to go around on a buggy, like going around giving out refreshments and things like that. And I don't even know if I'll be able to do that, to be honest.
You'll be
So,
brilliant. It'll be fine, and it's all part of making such an important day to be fun. And I say it's about the enjoyment. It's not necessarily about how many under par you are, even though obviously you'll feel good if it is. But is there a bit of a competition on the day and prizes for the best round?
so we'll do a presentation at the end of the day with the winners. So yeah, always prizes involved, but it's taking part that counts, isn't it?
Oh, it is raising funds for Compton and taking part that counts. Those two are
Yeah,
vitally
absolutely.
important bits on this one. So, how do people get in touch if they want to be part of this?
Yeah, so there is a form on our website people can fill out if they want to get in touch. That's comptoncare.org.uk. And if you go through to events, it's on there. Or you can email fundraising@comptoncare.org.uk.
Just put in the title Golf Day, and as you say, it's taking place on Thursday, the 15th of May, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Well worth getting yourself along to, being part of it. And I mean, it's you know, the sandwiches for breakfast start what, about 10 o'clock, something like that, is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you've got a chance to nip into the office, do some work so you've shown your face before you go off and do essential charity fundraising in the afternoon that just happens to need your golf clubs. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rachel Haley, corporate team at Compton Care, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, around 8 months ago, the launch of the Wolverhampton Wellness Hub in Bilston was the start of a brilliant piece of work which is helping many across our city. To tell us more, I'm joined now by Winston Lindsay from the Hub and also by one of their team, Gregory Bunsen Hicks. Good afternoon to you both.
Good
Hello,
afternoon.
good afternoon.
Now, first of all, Winston, tell us a bit about the Hub itself and its location in Bilston.
Okay, Wolverhampton Wellbeing Hub is actually based in the centre of Bilston. It's on Caledonia Street, just right next to the Robin, just next to that at the back.
A lovely place to be, easily accessible, plenty of great parking if people are coming along. But what is the reason for their wellness? What does it do to work with those in our city who need access to it?
Okay, well, Wolverhampton Wellbeing Hub was launched on the 19th of July by Mayor Linda Leach, and my vision really was to set up a place in Bilston where people can just come in and access some care and support and some mental health and wellbeing activities. And what we have here is what we call a 60s front room, which is one of our main attractions, where we have people 60s and older that will come in and they'll sit and reminisce about the 60s.
You're looking really at giving people a place to have a sense of community, and I think that's important. And it's open to people from all backgrounds, and I should think there's some interesting tales that get shared.
Oh, gosh, of course. The main story is when people come into the front room, it's like they've been transported back into time, into the 60s when, well, I'm quite young, so when I was growing up, our front room used to look like this room where we can't go in. No one can go in there unless the visitors come, and it's got all the carpets, it's got the wallpaper, it's got all the ornaments. So it's like you've gone back into a 60s front room. And like many stories gets told about these different items that are in there as well. And even one of the groups from Bilston, they say they grew up in Bilston, born in Bilston, and they used to make some of these items that was in the front room, which was a learning experience for myself also.
Fantastic. I mean, because Bilston, for its enameling work, was known across the world. Bilston ware is a thing that we see on antique shows. So, it's only right and proper that people should be sitting down talking about it and chatting about, the town itself and its links with Wolverhampton, being part of the greater corporation as it would have been back then. And, the social links are so important. And, it also helps those who may be new to the area as well to get a flavour of where it is they live.
Of course, yeah, because it's a drop-in, and mainly on Thursdays we have the 60s front room, but on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursday mornings, people just come in off the street, park in the car park to go to the market. When they walk past, they sometimes pop in and say, "Oh, what's this?" So then we'll invite them in, then show them around, and we have a talk. So it is open for the public, and it's about staying well, keeping well. But so we got different activities that runs here, just for everybody from all generations.
And sometimes it's about starting the health conversation as well, because that can be a huge part. People may not feel they wish to trouble their doctor, but whether it's mental health or physical well-being that you're looking at, there's the opportunity to get signposted, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, because that's one of the main things that we do here, because we have a well-being navigator, And what we do, if someone comes in off the street not feeling well and they needed some support from, we always advise people to go straight to the GP, but we will provide some support for them here, and we can navigate them to either homeless services, we can navigate them to a food bank if they need a food bank, and we can also navigate them towards education activities or even something local to where they live.
But even encouraging them to use Pharmacy First or ringing 111. All these things they may not necessarily realise they could do. And the fact you've got a community resource where people can come together, talk about their needs, and you'll be able to direct them to the areas they need to speak to. And this is for everyone, for every background. It's not just about people who may need to use a food bank. It's not just about people who have come from a diverse background to our city and don't have any local connections. It's about everybody coming along.
Yeah, it is, and the door's open, and we always welcome people when they come in. And when everyone comes here, they don't want to leave; they want to stay here. So it's time to go. But you know what? It's a place where people come, they feel comfortable, and we've got some positive affirmations around the building. Just remind us that you are unique and you are special, and you are well worth living, because some people feel quite low from depression. So we bringing hope back into their life.
And the Chatty Cafe has helped with that too.
Yes, it is. We've partnered with the Chatty Cafe, and there's quite a few Chatty Cafes around Wolverhampton. But here, what we do on the Thursdays mainly, and the Tuesdays, starting next week, we have people coming in, just a group, some two groups. They'll come in, they'll have something to eat, and then we'll sit and we'll start a conversation, and just a way of engaging. Because some people are very lonely, they spend most of the time isolated in their homes, and there's little really for them to do. So when they come here, we can open up conversations about different things that makes them feel well.
And you are volunteer-led, and as an experienced volunteer coordinator, you know how to get a team working together.
Oh yeah, because part of the Wellbeing Hub, I run another agency called ARC Training Social Care Consultancy. This is we provide health and wellbeing training and mental health training, and what we do, ARC Training funds the hub, could be a non-profit organisation. So I provide social care consultancy. I'll go out to people in their own homes and support them and connect them to things in the community. So I've been working as a social worker for over 28 years. And I left Wolverhampton City Council a couple of years ago because I had the vision to do more in the community. And that's where the vision originated from after COVID.
Well, I mean, this is for you an early retirement where you don't actually retire. A project born out of love and care for your fellow man, and I think that comes across with the people you're working with. And Gregory, I mean, you're a volunteer with the team there. I mean, what's it been like for you coming in to get involved in the hub?
I mean, I love it, and it's been so humbling and amazing for me to see how it's not only transformed the community, but also transformed Winston as well. Like he said, he came from a background in health and social care, but had this vision for a long time. So it just shows that when you have got a vision, you can actually put pen to paper and actually make it work. And I think when people see the impact of that vision, that's when people speak to, they want to pop in, they want to work with you, they want to run groups, and then it just becomes like a massive community aspect at that point where everyone wants to help each other. And I think that's the power of it, really, the beauty of having that wellbeing hub in Bilston for anyone in Wolverhampton to come along. And it has massively helped me. I do run my own PR business, and I also have known Winston, had the pleasure of knowing Winston for 20 years. So it's a privilege working with Winston. I've learned so much about health and social care, and also the community aspect and social impact as well. It's really nice being able to go along to meetings and events that Winston attends that are based about social impact, where it's about having a purpose and then providing that purpose for greater good. And I think when people see that, that's when people start to take the whole thing around the importance of mental health really seriously. And I think just someone sort of leaving the house to go to the Wellbeing Hub is a place where they can actually go get support, find out what's going on in the area, and just to sort of know that the services are out there. I think a lot of people don't know what they don't know, right? So I think having those services signposted to them allows them to know that that service is there, that service is out there, and that they can come anytime that we're open to come and get that support.
And a cuppa. The important thing is the cuppa, isn't it?
And a cuppa. Absolutely.
And
Everyone comes for the cuppa. And I think that's the purpose of the Chatty Cafe. Just come and have a chat. And I think you'll hopefully leave by the end of it feeling pleased that you came, because it is a really nice, relaxing environment based around holistic health and well-being. And I think that is everything that we need in Wolverhampton right now.
Absolutely, and I think they're making this really the heart of the community. That the fact that we've got so many great people involved. Winston, congratulations to you. I know you won't blow your own trumpet, but this is a brilliant piece of work. So very well done on what you've done here. I know that you and your community will be proud of you, and the fact that everyone comes together and makes such a difference here is absolutely phenomenal. So how do people find you again? Obviously, we know you're just down from the Robin 2. But what do people do? Turn up, and how can they volunteer and get involved as well?
Okay, well, what they can do is go on Wolverhampton City Council's Wolverhampton Information Network and type in Wolverhampton Wellbeing Hub or ARC Training, and it'll take you to our page. Because we're supported by Wolverhampton Council and also the NHS Black Country Partnership. So if you just Google it, you'll find it on Google, and also you can type in www.wolverhamptonwellbeinghub.uk, so you can log on the website and access our site with all the information that you need.
Well, Wolverhampton Wellbeing Hub is a community interest company making a difference, and he's already talked about ARC Training, the not-for-profit that is working alongside it. Winston, thank you to the team, Gregory Burns-Hicks and Winston Lindsay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'll see you soon when you come to visit for coffee.
I'm popping in for a drink. I'll see you soon, mate. The Lichfield Garrick are taking Farm Boy on tour across the UK. It all begins this weekend with a local gig. However, they're heading further afield. Their artistic director and CEO down here at the Garrick is Daniel Buckroyd, who is with me now. Hello, sir.
Hello, nice to see you.
Good to see you too. And we're stood here next to the tractor, which is very much the centre of this this show, isn't it? And a Michael Morpurgo piece, or should I say Sir Michael Morpurgo piece, that follows on from Warhorse.
Yeah, the tractor is absolutely the centre of the set, but it's also, in many respects, it's the third character in the show.
Having seen the show when you put it on here, it definitely has its own script, effectively.
It kind of does. So we got a grandfather and a grandson and a tractor, and that's and then it's they tell stories, weave stories about his life on the farm. It's 100 years of farming history. It's Michael Morpurgo's, what he describes as his home story. Mm-hmm. I didn't know this until quite recently. It's set on the farm that he lives on and has lived on for decades in Devon, and it plumbs the stories of the people who lived on that farm, but going back over several generations. So it's a really personal story for him. And
it's really personal for you too, because I mean, you know this because you actually sat down with him to talk about this production, didn't you?
Yeah, he's a very generous man, very lovely writer, generous, lovely man, and he talked when we met about the joys and sometimes the pitfalls of seeing his work turned into other things, into films and plays and operas and such like. But he is generally really supportive of that happening. So not only did he sit down to talk to me about that process, but also was really endorsing of people come and see the show and read his book, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and I mean his work in book form has then been transformed into many shows. I mean, and they always involve very much an interaction with a non-human element in some way. And I think Warhorse certainly does that. I've seen where orangutans have taken centre stage, and this is here. The tractor is definitely a character, but also it's warm and friendly for those who do know Warhorse as well, because you're not leaving some of his old characters behind here, are you? You're certainly getting their personality too.
So Michael's never written a sequel other than Farm Boy. but to call it a sequel is to sort of not do it justice, because he says, well, in the interview we did with him, he's not sure how you describe it, because it contains the story of Warhorse in there. So if you have seen Warhorse, you get a quick refresher. If you haven't seen Warhorse, it's wrapped up in this story, and this has events that happened before Warhorse, and it tells the story of what came next. And fundamentally, it's about that moment in British rural history where the tractor started to take over from the plough horse.
Yeah. The beginning of modern farming.
The beginning of modern farming, yeah.
And it's something which, as a nation, we wouldn't be able to work without today. And, looking back at events that have shaped the nation over time too. And I think you get that from all the characters. With the granddad, you're looking back to a time when he is someone who has living memory of things we hear about now in the history books, but it is 1-2 generations back for us. So this is it's just a very family feel to it, isn't it? And you do feel part of the family when you see the show.
I think you really do. It's at the heart of the show is the relationship between this grandfather and grandson. The grandson's in his sort of early 20s. And it's a really, really warm relationship, and I think that wraps its arms around our audiences. I've seen that many, many times, and it's really interesting because the grandfather is the farmer, and the next generation has not wanted to farm, and it's skipped a generation, and the grandson is falling in love with farming, and we forget about the importance of farming to English life at our peril, I think, and this story taps into that.
Now, when you perform this here at the Garrick and at schools and other venues throughout the region, what must be last year, obviously you had a huge response then, and that's brought now an expanded set, the same tractor, I believe, but still something which is a surefire hit. This is going to not only wow audiences, bring them in, draw them into a piece of work, and something for the Garrick to take it on the road as well. This is a proud moment.
Yeah, it's really we've want to not only produce work here at the Garrick, new plays, shows, but also be part of that bigger network of theatres around the country. So we're delighted to be taking Farm Boy on tour. It's visiting, I think, 34 venues around the length and breadth of England and Wales over the next 3 months, and playing about 100 performances. So we're really proud of that. I think Lichfield and this part of the West Midlands can be proud of that, and hopefully it'll be the first of many such ventures.
Yeah, and it's the sort of things that seeds of a theatre which are now 20 years old, they're blooming into something absolutely amazing at the moment.
Yeah, well, this theatre's got a proud history of producing work and occasionally it transferring or touring, but not over the last few years, not since the headaches of COVID and such like. We're still allowed to mention that, but it's in the DNA of this theatre, in the DNA of most theatres, that they want to be making work for their community, and for that work to be brilliant, and then for them to take it on tour, and that's what we're doing here.
And you get to start off in a local venue, so people around the area can make it to see this tour. It's not just about the length and breadth of the country. We've got something brilliant, and it all starts in Tamworth on Saturday.
Starts in Tamworth at the Assembly Rooms, which is lovely, because we spend a lot of our time looking down the road and seeing Tamworth as a friendly neighbour, but also our competitor. But on this occasion, it's great. We can work together, so Farm Boy starts its tour there, and then, as you say, it's down into Devon, up to Sunderland, over to the west coast of Wales, all over the place.
Now, I know people can follow the progress of the show's development on your socials.
Yep.
So what are those, and where can they also find out about tickets too?
Well, Garrick Theatre on all the socials, and for information about tickets for any of the venues for Farm Boy, if you go to garricktheatre.com website and go to our production page, there's a full tour schedule where you can click through to the websites of all the venues and book tickets to come and see the show.
And I said this is potentially just the start, isn't it? Because it will be interesting to see where this goes next.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this production has had a long history, not only back here at the Garrick over the last year or so, but it's something I've kind of nurtured and worked with over more than a decade, and it took us previously to New York, so who knows where we'll go this time.
Okay, well, so the first production on Mars, I think. Ploughing the Martian soil could be interesting.
Sounds good to me.
Meanwhile, though, it is all about Farm Boy. It's on tour from the Lichfield Garrick, heading around the UK. Daniel Buckroyd from the Garrick, thanks for having a chat.
Nice to talk to you.
Lichfield Operatic Society are in their natural home of the Lichfield Garrick from the 8th through to the 12th of April. Anything goes, apparently. To tell us more, I've got Adam, Charlotte, Shannon and Connor. Hello, gang.
Hello.
Hi.
Right, okay, we're going to start at the far end there. Adam, hello.
Hello.
So tell us a bit about your bit on the show.
So I play Billy.
Yeah.
Now Billy is a young-ish Wall Street broker who is supposed to stay in New York, but instead goes aboard the ship to find his love, who he met 3 weeks previous, I believe, anyway. So he's basically going on the ship where he shouldn't be to find love.
Okay, so it's basically like Tinder on a boat.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's a good start. And then, obviously, Charlotte, you're actually head of press and PR for this as well as taking part in the show, aren't you? So, who are you apart from making sure that we talk about the right things?
So I'm playing Reno Sweeney, who is a nightclub singer turned evangelist, who is aboard the ship as the entertainment, along with her angels, so performing things like Anything Goes and Blow Gabriel, so it's a lot of fun, but she also does have a soft spot for Billy, who is one of her closest friends, but also a sweet spot of love.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely love is in the air. As like Shannon, how do you find love in the show? Because everybody does, don't they, at some point? It's like it's a blind date now, isn't it?
Well, playing Irma, I would say Irma doesn't really find love, although some of the sailors might be in love with her. She's,
Don't to be expected.
Absolutely. I mean, she uses her flirtatious wit to get her own way. She's just there for a good time, to be honest. I feel Irma's just there going with the flow alongside Moonface Martin, just having a great time aboard the ship.
Okay. Connor, you flirt with everybody, I take it? It's like real life.
On stage or real life?
Yeah.
I'm Evelyn. Evelyn is an English lord who is engaged to Hope Harcourt, and they're travelling back to England to get married. And Evelyn is just a foppish, guy who...
So this typecasting thing's kicking in
It
again.
is a little bit. It's always the same. But no, he's going to marry Hope, but he's got a little secret which, throughout the show, slowly makes an appearance.
Okay, so intrigue, love, lust, a ship, fantastic musical numbers, and a talented cast. How are we doing so far? Is that about right?
Nailing it.
Yeah. Okay. And so we've got to do best bits of the show for each of you. So you've got a little secret. Is that your favourite part of the show? Is this intrigue sort of?
I would say I think my favourite part is especially with Evelyn, is he's so oblivious to things that go around him, and he comes out with some great one-liners that he is completely unaware of are funny, whereas everyone else just sees him as a bit of a buffoon, which I think is probably my favourite part about it.
Okay, cool. Again, living your life on stage.
Yes.
What do you think?
Favourite parts for me, there's just some really hilarious scenes and there's some really great characters and so many moments where you just will not be able to help but laugh. Alongside obviously some amazing dances and amazing singing by Reno, my favourite.
So you've been billed as the best singer in the show now already?
She's been very kind, but no, I think for me, probably on a personal level, it's the fact that I, as a character, get to interact probably with nearly all the principals, particularly the men.
Shocking.
Which is really fun, but I mean, as a show overall, Anything Goes it's hard work, but it's a fantastic number. It's 8 minutes of tap to end Act 1 with full company, so that's a big highlight for me.
And that's going to look amazing on that stage as well, isn't it?
I hope so. I'm sure it will.
Rehearsals are ongoing, but it's looking good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, what do you reckon then?
Yeah, well, luckily for me, I'm only 20 seconds of that 8 minutes of tap. And Charlotte's with me for most of that, thank God. No, I think for me, I get to do a lot of dressing up in this show, like a lot of disguises to stay away from my boss's view, who was on the ship. So I get to be a sailor at some point, and I won't go into the other disguises, but yes, messing about a lot. And also, I get to be in some brilliant dance numbers with the likes of Charlotte and Ellie, who plays Hope as well, which are really enjoyable.
Who gets the hardest gig in the show?
Oh, yeah. no, I think I'm probably the most scenes, but I think you get the big numbers, don't you? You have to...
I sing a lot and dance a lot. He says a lot.
It's more obvious because I think songs with words are easy to remember than just words floating around on their own, aren't they?
That's what I thought until this show. Anything Goes in particular has been more of a tongue twister than I ever expected to be doing on stage.
But that's part of the magic of the show. That's why it's sort of endured and why it's such a big show, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the music of Cole Porter is really the star of this show. We just do our best to do it justice, really.
And okay, I want to say worst moment. What's the moment that fills you with the most fear and trepidation?
The 8-minute tap.
That's for you. And obviously, we know certain bits about your performance. The nudity.
There's no nudity. Please, we're trying to, encourage people to come. That's what I'm aware of. I think the nervous bit for me, it's the something that happens in the second act. It's a big moment for Evelyn.
You're just going to tease now, aren't you?
I'm going to tease. I can't give it away. It'll give away the moment.
And we've got to find out by coming to the show.
100%.
Okay. Anything that works for you, doesn't work for you, that you're thinking, hang on, I'm going to nail this, but...
Probably the voice that I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
I put on, Irma has quite the accent.
Oh, so let's hear a little bit of that as a taste. You just set yourself up for that one. No, three or four words will do us.
Oh, hi there. How you doing today?
Okay, so they'll be heard by dogs all around there.
Yeah,
so that's part of it. This is the characterisation that's so important, though, isn't it? So you're going to carry that off.
Absolutely, but hopefully, the audience won't mind it too much, won't be covering their ears. But
That'll be brilliant.
back now.
But it is Anything Goes. It is Lichfield Operatic Society, all taking place at the Lichfield Garrick from the 8th through to the 12th of April. 01543 412 121 is the box office number. lichfieldgarrick.com to grab your tickets. And you guys are all over the social showing us what you can do, aren't you?
Absolutely.
How do we find you?
We are on Instagram and we are on X and we are on Facebook, all under Lichfield Operatic Society. So drop us a follow and see what we're up to.
Well, break a leg. Don't find the need to use any of the rubber rings if you fall off the edge of a boat. Please stay safe. Don't flirt too much, particularly you. Have a brilliant time with it, and I know audiences are going to love it. Have a fab time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to long-term commitments, many of us, at 51%, want more flexibility in our everyday lives. That is what the research from temporary car insurance company Temp Cover tells us. I'm joined now by their managing director, Mark Pell, and also by actor Will Mellor. Hello to you both.
Hello. How you doing?
Good to have you along again, Will. Nice to meet you, Mark. So, Will, first of all, I mean, in your career, you're here, there and everywhere. There are so many different projects you work on.
Yeah.
Temporary must be your middle name.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any of us like long-term commitments because you think, what if I'd have done this and just waited another week and I could have got a better deal? I think a lot of us think like that, and I'm the same. I'll do like a lot of weekend trips as well when I'm not working. I'm always out with the family. I'm always going on little fishing trips whenever I can, because for me, work, yes, is important, but my most important thing is making sure I have time with my family. So making memories and going doing things. I always talk about it on my social media, getting out there, and this temp cover is perfect for that. If you wanted to share the driving with my wife, which I wish I'd have remembered about this, because I do so many long drives. And she goes, I'd help with the drive, but I'm not insured on the car. I wish I'd have gone, hang on, give me a minute. I can have you insured within 5 minutes and you can drive the rest of the way. So yeah, it's all about flexibility, temp cover.
Absolutely, and so it is about them making sure that you only spend as much on insurance as you need to. And I mean, Mark, that's an important one. You might be, Will is the main driver on the car. The missus needs to use it every once in a while to keep costs down. Just do it when Will wants a nap in the back of the car because he's fed up with hearing the kids asking, "Are we there yet?"
Yeah, you've got it. I think the key point is that flexibility. So being able to kind of take that opportunity in the moment, do something fun, or even get out of an emergency type situation. Maybe your car's broken down, you need to borrow someone's car to get somewhere. It's all about basically giving you that opportunity to get in a car, live in the moment, do that thing that you need to do, and having the flexible product like we offer at Temp Cover is exactly that.
Yeah, but it's also about, though, knowing you're properly covered, because you may have third-party cover on another car, but actually, if you want to go fully comp to make sure you are safe, easy way of doing it.
It's a really important point. So I think, like, for anybody who's as old as I am, you're kind of used to having an annual insurance policy and thinking that actually in that policy you can drive other people's cars. The reality is, first of all, that's actually coming off of policies a lot. So you need to check your policy documents, because actually you might get caught out and think you've got that cover when you haven't. And we do not want people driving uninsured. Second of all, that actually typically is only third-party cover. So you need that full protection in case you really, you need to make a claim. And so temporary insurance, Temp Cover, we offer fully comprehensive cover, so it gives you complete peace of mind. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward. You borrowed a car, you totaled it, but the other driver gets theirs paid for, and your mate's out of pocket. Talking of mates, William, you are off on the road with your tour at the moment, aren't you? So you'll be podcasting up and down the nation over the next few months.
Well, my podcast is out now. It has been out. Series 5 of 2 Pints with Will and Ralph. It's obviously me and Ralph Little from 2 Pints Lager and a Packet of Crisps. We set it up in lockdown. I think it's had 75 million downloads. It's just gone crazy. But people enjoy it, and we try to sort of give people a bit of escape and have a bit of fun and a bit of banter and listen to our pod. And we're taking it on tour. It's our 3rd tour, and that's going to be called the November Nonsense Tour. So it's going to be, it does exactly what it says on the tin. So you know what the tour's about, including the title. And we're all over the country in November. So yeah, just have a look. Go to 2pintspodcast.com if you want to find out where we're going to be touring and buy your tickets. But yeah, we love having a bit of fun, and we've got our own series out as well. Me and Ralph coming out again. We was out last year called Will and Ralph Should Know Better. We've got a new series of that. But yeah, it all feeds into the same thing. So we'll be out on tour in November. But you can listen to the podcast anytime you want.
Yeah, well, I know you're in Brum for that gig, so that'll be well worth getting along to. But it just mean when you're out about, borrow his car, put the miles on his car, not your car, temporary insurance cover, you're sorted, aren't you?
Honest to God, I can't tell anybody enough. Nobody likes long-term commitments. It said that here 76% of us think life's simpler with fewer long-term commitments. And it's so important that, say if you go and buy a car, right, and you think, oh, I've not done the insurance, right, and you try and rush getting insurance, you'll end up paying more, but this temp cover will give you time to be able to find the best deal, shop around. So if you can insure that car for a week with temp cover, then at least it gives you time to go and get the best deal you can before you commit to a long-term agreement. So make sure you check out temp cover if you are getting a car, if you want to borrow someone's car. It's just the way forward.
And again, Mark, I mean, it is easy. You've got an app for that, haven't you?
We've got an app. We've got a really quick website. It takes a couple of minutes to get a quote. It's not your typical long, hard to do insurance journey. Give it a go. You'll be pleasantly surprised by how quick it is. Yeah.
How quick is it?
2 minutes to get a quote, and then very quick after that to get it bought, and then you're on the road straight away.
It's almost if we should make him insure a car now, even as we speak. He could do it before we finish the chat, couldn't he?
I absolutely could.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? People don't want to wait. People don't want to pay a loads of money. People don't want to be tied into long-term commitments. So I think it's perfect.
So all sounds good to me. Where do we find you? How do we track you down, Mark?
Yeah, so nice and easy. Tempcover.com on the website. You can find our app in all the app stores as well.
And of course, Will, you mentioned you got the tour on the way. Look out for that for November. Check out the podcast. Any telly stuff in the near future that's new, different, weird, and interesting? Because it's the stuff you do. You never know what you're going to be. Sometimes you're in a serious drama and everything. It's really confusing.
Well, because I'm an actor, I don't like to. Listen, in my life, I don't like to be put in a box and go, listen, that's what you do now. And to prove that, I'm actually releasing a song, which is I sang a song. It went viral the other week. The other day actually, called "Bring Him Home." It was on Instagram, Facebook, and whatsoever. I sang it on for When You Wish Upon a Star charity at the Gorton Monastery, and it's just gone crazy. It had over 6 million views, I think, and now people are asking me to release it, so I'm going to do that and tie in the charity When You Wish Upon a Star, raise some money for these really sick children who deserve a wish being granted for them, and that'll be coming out soon. I'm recording it next week, and then we're going to put it out and raise some money, so I'm dipping my toe back in the music market. So I've got some TV stuff coming up as well, but I can't tell you too much about that.
Okay, well, we'll follow you on the socials for all of that. We'll give the charity single a spin when we get our hands on it. We'll certainly be giving that a plug.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, for now, Will Mellor and Mark Pell, Managing Director of Temporary Car Insurance Company Temp Cover, thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Now, when it comes to collectibles, many people out there are hoping they're filling their loft with things that'll be worth a fortune as they get a bit older, including the people who are currently collecting Jellycat toys. Will they go the same way as the Beanie Baby? Who knows? Well, possibly Izzie Balmer, antiques expert who joins us, and we welcome Kevin Mountford from Braze. Good afternoon to you both.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Jason.
So, first of all, Izzie, I mean, collections are a thing. I mean, do you collect things? I've seen on TV you have a penchant for brooches.
Do you know what? I wish I could say I collected something, but I don't. I'd like to create an art wall in my flat. The only problem with that is you actually have to buy some art to put on it. So I've got about 4 pictures so far. But in my mind, it's going to be sort of like all different ages, all different styles, sort of chaotically put on my wall. But yes, the problem is when everyone thinks when you do this for a job, they sort of think, oh, well, you're perfectly placed. But of course, you're so busy selling other people's items that you don't think to look for yourself.
And when it comes to, I mean, we know that the most common things collected for resale, the likes of antiques, jewelry, luxury watches, vinyl records, designer clothes, and rare books. And there are billions of books out there, but finding that rare one isn't an easy thing, is it?
It's not at all. There's a lot of time, research. You do need to know what you're looking for. Everybody wants to find, a first edition Harry Potter. They are out there, but there are many also that are not and that just don't tick that box.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin, when it comes to it, I know you've raised and done this research, and was there any surprises for you in there? Because I mean, are you currently collecting anything in particular?
Yeah, we were just reminiscing. I mean, I'm from Stoke-on-Trent originally, and remember the days when getting your hands on a Dalton figure, you thought that you were in the cash, but in reality, they're worth very little. I think from my perspective, what was interesting is almost half of the under 25s are collecting Jellycats, and I'd never heard of them prior to this research. So I guess that says a lot in terms of the kind of generational differences. I just dug out some old Marvel comics, and I never purchased them thinking that one day they might be of value. I mean, I did it because I was a massive Marvel fan, and I think just naturally as a kid I used to look after things, and then you suddenly find them. So first and foremost, there's the nostalgic element of them. But yeah, so around 31% of the people that researched at Raisin said they were collectors. And I don't think it's all about antiques and also setting out to try and find something that, as I say, in the future is going to be of value. But what I did like to see is that a quarter of those people that said they were collectors, when they've actually sold an item and they got the cash, it's actually to trigger a savings habit. So as you know, at Raisin, the savings platform, we're all about trying to help people to make their hard-earned cash work harder. So I think if you do realize some value in items that you've saved for one reason or another, then by all means, try and put that cash away and start building up a nest egg, because, it's more difficult these days to try and get on that savings ladder than maybe it has been for years.
Absolutely. And again, Izzie, I'm sure you see things come through at auction, then you think, wow, didn't that do well? I mean, I've got things that, in clearing the loft out, I found my old collection of badges, which we haven't sold yet. And sometimes there's pencil erasers, pencil tops. Things like that can sell really well. I mentioned at the start of the chat, Beanie Babies haven't really realised what some people thought they might. The concern is that I'm hoping the people collecting Jellycat stuff are doing it because they are blooming cute and look amazing, whereas the Beanie Babies never did. But yeah, it is about you, and it's always nice to have a pleasant surprise, and you see that at auction, don't you?
All the time, and that is one of the best parts of the job, is discovering that item that the vendors simply didn't know had any value. I have to say, often they come in and they say, this has been passed down through the generations, or we've been told it's valuable, and your heart sinks, you think, oh, how am I going to break the news to them that it simply hasn't retained its value? But then it's the item that they think, oh, we're just off to the charity shop with this, and you go, oh, well, can I have a look, please? And that's the valuable item.
Yeah. What was interesting, Jason, when you looked at the top 5 items, as you referenced, one was luxury watches. Well, unless you've inherited it, you're then having a cash outlay to buy the item. And I think that's when it becomes a challenge for a lot of people, because you may not realize a return on that. So I just think personally, it's really enjoyable if there's things that you didn't expect to be worth anything in the future. And as you say, you dig it out the loft and suddenly realize there's cash. But whether it's kind of clothes, old sunglasses, designer glasses, or whatever, there are lots of ways now that you can dispose of those items if you're not using them. And get cash in return. Because I think there's a fine line between I'm saving and investing with an item as opposed to I'm being deemed to be just a hoarder.
Yeah.
So
hoarding is kind of fun, though. I mean, we know the collections are worth on average £2,404, and that's the estimate we put on there. And again, how do you estimate these things? Because it can be tricky sometimes, can't it?
It can be tricky. It's essentially market trends. So things do rise and fall in value. Sort of, the famous one is brown furniture. Everyone sort of 15, 20 years ago, that was what people wanted. They spent a fortune on it. And then now it's just, I wouldn't say impossible to sell, but it's very difficult, and you will get a fraction of the price for it. So in that instance, it's just a big loss. So, hopefully people bought that because they loved it and they wanted that large, solid wood brown dining table, because if they were doing it for an investment, they'd have just been better putting off their money in a savings account. Whereas now what people want is mid-20th century furniture, which is a lot more light wood, it's a lot sleeker, and that has been fashionable for a long time. But at some point, presumably the market will turn and people will want something else instead. But in terms of how do you attach a value to it, at the end of the day, it's how much someone is prepared to pay for it.
Okay, so one day that Billy bookcase will be worth an absolute mint potentially. In the meantime, though, a better way of investing is to put it in a bank account, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah, I think so. And sadly, there's still hundreds of millions of pounds that sit in accounts pay next to nothing. And I think, particularly as we come into the spring, we're going to be spring cleaning. So why not spring clean your finances and try and put your cash into an account that gives you the right levels of return, because there's huge demand out there from banks and building societies for your cash. So make sure you put in an account that gives you a decent return.
Absolutely. You can find more details and the update on this report all on the Raisin website.
You can, and that's Raisin. So it's raisin.co.uk.
And you can download the app. And then the app, just because you've got money in the bank doesn't mean you can go out and buy more Jellycat toys. Because, Kevin, I know you're a convert now. You've probably got the whole range, including that little cute avocado and the egg, haven't you?
I'll be heading into town after this to try and get a few items, just in case.
You nip to the shops. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you. Don't spend all of your savings. Meanwhile, Izzie, can we find you and your antics online if we're looking to sell? Can you help us out?
Yes, definitely. Best way to contact with me would direct you to Instagram, and all details are on there.
Give that a check out. Well, for now, Izzie Balmer, antiques expert, and the inimitable Kevin Mountford from Raisin. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks, Jason.
Now, if you're thinking about your overall look and you've got the wrong kind of six-pack, it's probably beer rather than the sort that's sported by the likes of David Beckham, then we've got somebody who might be able to give us a few tips to get you in the right direction. With David Beckham's latest campaign for men's health, he is, as ever, looking annoyingly healthy. To tell us more about how we can get ourselves into shape is Scott Harrison, Sunday Times bestseller, PT mindset and wellbeing expert. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's always good to talk to you. Good to catch up. And I mean, poor David. He gets to be a role model for so many people, and he really does know how to look after himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, obviously he's been an athlete, a high-end athlete, a lot of his life, hasn't he? But you will be very surprised to know that you don't have to be a wealthy, athletic person from your 20s to be able to turn it around and look like him.
Yeah, because I mean, a sculpted body is not impossible, but it's obviously there is work involved. It's not something which just happens on its own, is it?
No, that's definitely true. And as always, the hardest bit is the nutritional side of fitness and wellness. But what a lot of people think, because obviously this current topic is about him being in his 50s, and a lot of people say, well, it's different when you're 50. You can't do this and you can't do that, and your body isn't the same. Well. And it's actually not much to do with your age. It's just you've spent longer time damaging yourself. So if you imagine when you're 25, you've probably spent 5 to 7 years damaging yourself. When you're 55, that works out to be decades now. Mm-hmm. So it's not actually the age, it's actually the longer you've chipped away at your health.
But people very often get themselves to, they may go through a bit of a health kick in the 20s, but and we've seen it happen with a number of sportsmen. Sometimes they do let themselves go, for want of a better phrase, they relax a little bit and live into a new lifestyle. And we can all kind of do that. But if we're not sportsmen in our 20s, then actually there's a good chance that we already were in those bad habits, as you say.
Yeah, well, it's a vicious circle, isn't it? But the ironic thing is that one always feeds the other. But I do think, that when you hit those sort of 40s, 50s, you do have this other bit of an epiphany that, hang on a minute, time's moving on, and maybe I need to start looking at what I'm doing with my body, not be so reckless, the typical mum and dad bod. But the great news is that a bit like when it was COVID and all the lockdowns, I use this analogy that, and obviously I don't know if this is true because I don't know what actually really happened. I didn't test it myself, but we all knew that the air was clearer, the seas were cleaner, the rivers were cleaner. And if you remove some of that stuff from your body, you'll be surprised. It's built to repair itself very, very quickly. And you can turn your life around like you would not believe, remove all that subcutaneous and visceral fat, build the muscle, clear the skin, whiten the eyes, strengthen the nails and the teeth, and have a clear head and sleep better and less anxiety, all just by spending 75 days of changing the way you eat, drink, exercise, and think.
Yeah, it is quite scary because I mean I've just turned 53. I'm currently about 6-7 stone overweight. I've managed to lose half a stone since Christmas, so that's pretty good. But it's actually getting myself into the right mindset. It's the number of days that since Christmas I could have been well the way through one of your programs and doing a hell of a lot
Well,
better.
I did think you were going to do it last time we spoke.
We had a
Jason.
brief chat and we didn't get around to say, okay, we'll follow that up after this conversation. But yeah,
Okay.
it is getting into these things, isn't it? And
Yeah.
sometimes it's a bit like a switch in your head. You may feel afraid about doing it, but actually, once you start, it will get easier.
Well, like even myself, when I come back off holiday, that first couple of times back in the gym is always the hardest. And actually on my gym, as you walk out on the wall, there's this big sort of poster or sticker that's been placed on there, and it says, "Hate you, hate this place, see you tomorrow." And it's so true, right? So no one's ever had a bad workout, but you've got to once you're in the workout, everything's fine. It's taking that first step. And it's always the one day or day one, and if you keep saying, oh, one day I'll do this, or one day I'll do that, no, make it day one. And then day two, day three. And then once you're in for a couple of weeks, it becomes the norm. It's when you don't do it at all, or you keep procrastinating and putting it off, that it makes it so much harder. Give yourself that couple of weeks and you'll find that it's just all that disappears.
So yeah, and any trepidation you may have, you've got to get over it, haven't you? That's the thing, and you've got to realise you're doing this for you, not for anybody else. It's for you.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any opinions, because this is really, really common, people close to you, well, what are you doing that for? You don't need to do that. You don't need to do this. And it's not about anyone else but you. This is your life. This body you've got is the only place you have to live, and you've got to look after it. Otherwise, you're just existing instead of living. A lot of people don't actually know what a human body is supposed to feel like. And it's quite incredible when you feed it the right stuff.
Okay, so we're talking a bit about David Beckham. Is that something that's achievable, from a starting point of where you feel I am at the moment? Should that be what I'm aiming for? Or should I be more realistic and work on where we get to?
Well, I'm looking at you, Jason, as more of a Jason Statham. Not just for the name
and the lack of hair,
look,
yeah.
The lack of hair, the look. So, you can definitely get to that body fat, no problem if that's what you really wanted to do. You might want to be a bit more muscular than David. David hasn't got a particularly good set of pecs, if you ask me. My pecs, I would like to, I love you, David, but I would like to say would look rather much better on David if he had my set of pecs on there. But it's all individual to what you want to do. So if you want to look like David, then you can. Or you can sculpt your body to, if you're prepared to put in the time and the effort and the work and do what it needs to get there, you can get there.
And what sort of setup are you looking at? So you've talked about going to the gym. Obviously, that's going to be an important part of it. It's actually moving your body, which makes a difference.
Yeah, you don't need a gym, actually. Everything you can do can be done from home. The six-pack revolution is done from home. I've got 86-year-olds on the program. In fact, one of my best results was from a 64-year-old, not a 50-year-old David, 64-year-old. It was unbelievable what that man did. He literally turned into Wolverine in one wave of the program. Absolutely incredible. So it's, again, if you're prepared to put in what it takes, then you'll get out of it what you put in.
Okay, so what sort of time is people committing here to be able to do something like your six-pack revolution?
Okay, well, our program's 75 days long, and we get ridiculous results. And so every result you see from the six-pack revolution is a 75-day program, one wave of the program. But let's say, for example, you wanted a set of abs, and you came into to us, and you were 26 stone. That isn't going to happen in one wave, but it might happen in three. We lose 3 or 4 dress sizes in one wave. But if you're 24 size dress, then you're not going to have abs. But you know what? It's not all about abs, Jason. It's about strength, vitality, health, mental health, feeling alive, loving yourself, energy, clarity, losing that fog, and just having this vibrant, abundant life, really. And if you get a set of abs with it, great. A lot of people don't want a six-pack. And it's not, and it's ironically, I know the program's called the Six-Pack Revolution, but it really isn't about that. It's about a six-pack of core values: strength, power, resilience, nutrition, fitness, and mindset.
And those are the things that will drive you forward, that will help you get to where you physically need to be the physical shape you want to be. I mean, and we, no one here is actually effectively fat shaming, but what we are pointing out is actually if that is your lifestyle choice, and In many cases, it's a choice. Others, it may not feel that way. But if that is how you wish to live your life, you do that, and it's your way. But there will be limitations later in life. There's a higher chance of diabetes, heart disease. All these things could really set you back as you get into your 60s and to your 70s, and hopefully you will get there. But if you look at getting your health right and getting your physicality right, you've got a much better chance of a better quality of life as you do get older.
Yeah, if you don't want to have a frame around your toilet, you don't have a stair lift to take you up the stairs, you still want to walk through the beach and walk through the forest and enjoy all those normal things in life. And what you do now is adding to the pension pot of life. So when you switch sitting on the sofa for maybe even if it's going for a walk, you do 1 minute fast and 1 minute slow, 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow. This is adding into that pension pot. And a lot of people, they say, because I speak to so many parents and they say, I would die for my children. But that isn't what your children want. They want you to look after yourself, your body and your mind and live for them instead. That's what it's all about. And the thing what you were saying about the physical side, and if you choose to go down the road, and you said not fat shaming or anything like that, but you choose not to look after yourself, the biggest problem is the mental health that comes with that. It's extremely poor, and the inflammation comes. And most chronic illnesses come from inflammation in the body where we haven't eaten properly and we've done no exercise.
Mm-hmm. And so that makes a huge difference. And you start the exercise, you build it up, and it's people sometimes go at it hell for leather in the first 2 weeks and realize they can't do what the demand they're putting on themselves, and that in itself knocks them back and takes them off. It's about talking to a PT who knows what they're doing to get people into the right mindset and work them through a program which will help them work for them.
Yeah, and don't forget, every program you do, whatever it is, there's always a simpler or easier version. So if you can't run, walk. If you can't jump, step. If you can't squat deep, squat half. If you can't do a press up on your feet, do them on your knees. If you can't do them on your knees, do them against the worktop in the kitchen. There's always an adaptation that you can make to step forward. And don't forget, forward is forward. Even when you're falling flat on your face, you're moving forward. It is physically impossible to fall flat on your face backwards. So just go for it, and whatever happens, you're moving forward.
So where can people find out more about your work as a PT and, of course, the Six Pack Revolution?
Okay, so the sixpackrevolution.com. Actually, we run 6 waves a year because we're live with you all day, every day. And as I said, we tell you what to eat every day, what to drink every day, and how to think every day. We change your relationship with food, with drink, and with yourself. And you will come out of it a completely different person. It's absolutely life-changing. And that's not just physically, that's mentally, that's visually and healthily. We have huge success with all chronic illnesses coming to a much more manageable level or into complete remission. So the sixpackrevolution.com, as I said, we've got a January wave, March, May, July, September, October. And all the information's on there. We're also on all the usual social media channels at the Six Pack Revolution. And if you want to speak to me on my own as well, then you've got at I am Scott Harrison.
Thank you. Check it out. Have a look, see how it could work for you, and see how you can change things. You might be the next David Beckham, not on the football pitch, but in the 50s. That could work really well for you. For now, Scott Harrison, Sunday Times bestselling PT, mindset, and wellbeing expert. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jason.
Well, that's a lot. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 823 next week. I hope to see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar.